Okay, well, it's kind of like I told you before. All I have to do is replace this ventilation fan on the back of the exciter. Shouldn't be too much of a job. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and let you go and get started on that.
Okay, look, just remember, you have to discharge the capacitor, okay? Discharge before you die, okay? No, not.
Am I the kind of guy who would forget something like that?
Oh yeah.
Hello, and welcome back to Russ's Radio Repair. Yes, you've caught me at work again, and I've brought along the MT&Me cameras to keep track of a little maintenance work here at our studios, because I might actually find this a little interesting. We'll see. This contraption here with the buttons and the meters and all is an FM exciter. Now, without getting too technical about it, it is an important component of an FM broadcast transmitter. In fact, this is what actually takes the sound out of our studios and turns it into a radio signal, which can then be amplified by the transmitter, sent out to the antenna, and broadcast to the known world. Well, this unit doesn't do that anymore. Like me, it got old and tired, and it developed some health issues, and it was determined that it was cheaper to replace it than it was to repair it. I certainly hope they don't make that determination about me one of these days. Anyway, we replaced it. However, I have another one of these, identical, in another transmitter that is still working 24/7, and so far has not given me any major issues. So we've kept this one just to have spare parts for it. And that's good, because lately that other exciter is developing a noisy ventilation fan on the back. Let me show you. See, you turn this thing is heavy, by the way. You turn this thing around, all the connections are here, and there's a big ventilation fan on the back, right? You may have seen something similar to this in your computer, keeping the processor cool. Well, this thing keeps the power amplifier cool, and if it goes out, the whole thing shuts down to keep the power amplifier from overheating. So why it has a fan on it in the first place. So I don't want that to happen to my on-air exciter. That would take my whole radio station off the air for a while. So in an attempt to do a little preventive head trouble off at the pass type of maintenance, I want to take this fan and put it on the other exciter. Sounds simple enough. Let's hope it is. First thing we need to do, though, is be sure this fan works. To do that, let's power up this exciter and see what happens. Fan is running, and air is coming out the holes on top. That's exactly what it's supposed to do. And most importantly, it's quiet. No noise. That means these bearings are much better than the ones in my other fan. In fact, listening to this fan, it's hard to imagine that other one is so noisy, but it is. So, we know this fan works. Let's see about getting it off of this unit. start out by unplugging it. Now let's see about getting these screws out. And just like that, we have a fan. Now, good news for me that this came off so easily. The other exciter is of course mounted in the FM transmitter. In order to replace this fan, we'll have to turn the transmitter off, actually shut the exciter down, and replace the fan. Since it's so easy to access completely from the outside, it means I won't have to completely take the exciter out of the transmitter and do this repair job. I'm hoping I can do it just from the back, working inside, or at the very least pulling the exciter out from the front, and if I have enough play in the connections, maybe setting it on a stool or something to give me easy access. That's something we're just going to have to see when we get into the transmitter. Now, we're not going to do that right now because it's the middle of the day and I don't want to take my station off the air. This is the kind of job you do late at night or early in the morning when you figure the fewest possible people will be listening, and you can get away with about 30, 40 minutes, maybe an hour of being off the air without hurting your ratings. Because just like TV, radio's all about ratings. You didn't hear me say that. Anyway, I got the fan off, and that's the project for now. Next, we'll have to get into the transmitter. Hang on for that. Okay, well, it's kind of like I told you. All I have to do tonight is replace this ventilation fan on the back of the exciter, so it's probably not going to take but about 20 minutes, something like that, but I think I'm going to let you go and get started on that.
Okay, look, just remember, you have to discharge the capacitor, okay? Discharge before you die.
There's a story there. We'll tell it some other time, okay? All right, you have a good night. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. My safety officer, reminding me to be sure and follow the rules of electrical safety. So I'll be sure and do that. You can double check me here on the MT and Me. So, here we are. The other day, I took that fan off the exciter, and I told you I had another one just like it in service. This is it. It is currently on the air, and I'm not sure how much you can hear that little roaring, grinding sound, but that's this little fan on the back of it. And that is what we're going to replace today. First thing we got to do, shut it down. Now see how much quieter things got there? And as I pointed out earlier, the main problem with this is going to be access, getting to it. Let's tear into the back of this Harris HT 3.5 FM transmitter and see what kind of access we'll have from there. Okay? Incidentally, you saw me turn this thing off. There's an interlock system here to where anytime you take the back off, it would have shut it down anyway. So, big safety feature, all right? And let me give you a quick look inside here, okay? The top part here, the tube is inside here. All the broadcasting business. And there, as you come on down, big ventilation fan, an intermediate power amplifier. The power supply is here in the bottom, and we still have some voltage right there on the block coming in, so I want to stay clear of that. Looking up, there's the back of the processor, and there is the back of the exciter. Not the easiest thing to get to by any means. And oh, look, there's a big capacitor right there. As Ree said, we got to stay away from them. But I have this handy little thing called a grounding stick right here. And this is what you touch everything with to be sure it's discharged. But point is, I really can't get to that from here. I can barely see the fan that I've got to replace. So I think we're going to see if we can do this from the front side of the transmitter. So, I have a surface here to brace. What we're going to do is pull this out, release it completely, see how far we can go to access it. I have one wire that's being held by a harness. I have to take one of the 4 screws out to free that. I can pull this on out. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And here is the fan we have to replace. There we are. Old fan off. Here's the new one to go on. Okay, now that's 3 out of 4. And my fingers are working properly. That 4th one though is the one that has the wiring harness on it. This one right here. So we're going to have to put it back in position in order to put this screw in. And of course we've got to connect our 2 B and C connectors as well. Get it all hooked back up. It's back in. I think all connections are good. Let's slide it back in place. See if it's going to work. And remember what I said about safety interlocks? We got to put the back on before it'll start. All right, let's give it a try. It's so quiet now. I can hear that little fan just purring, but it's not rumbling like it was. That's a good thing. And according to the meters and the lights, we're in business. Back on the air. And just to be sure, yep, we're back in business. All right, so that'll conclude this episode of the Russ's Radio Repair. And now we move back to Pearl's prolonged repair here on the MT and Me. I had planned to come out here and maybe do a little project or so on Pearl to kind of wrap this week up. But as you just saw, I had a pretty busy week at my day job, and you know, you got to do the paying job. So that took a lot of my time. Plus, we're getting ready for football season. We're just days away from the beginning of our local high school football coverage, and we have 2 high schools in our area, and we have 2 stations that each cover a team, so it's a pretty big project for a small staff station like us. So we're getting ready for that. Plus college football is going to be starting up too. We've got that coverage coming in. It's just a lot to cover. I've been busy. And then I come out here and I discovered that for some reason, and I still don't understand, this has happened before, my battery has almost drained completely. Now I keep coming out here about every week or so and putting a trickle charge on this battery to keep it charged up, since I'm not running Pearl and the alternator is not running to keep a charge, and a battery will not keep a charge forever. You give it 4 weeks, month and a half, something like that, you're going to start losing voltage just by the nature of the battery. So, for some reason, even with the trickle charge, this sucker's practically dead. So, we're back to putting a full charge on it today to see if, I don't know, maybe there's a problem with the battery. It's not indicating a bad battery. My thought is maybe I have a drain that I don't know about, because the battery is installed and hooked up. So there may be something here in Pearl Circuit that's actually pulling it down that I don't realize. That's something we can track down at a later date, perhaps. But in the meantime, I'm going to charge it up, do what we want to do, and then I'm just going to kind of pull the plug on it, disconnect the negative terminal, and that way we don't have to worry about it discharging because of anything inside Pearl. And if it is a bad battery, we can find out real quick. Alright, so that's all for the future. For now, unless we want to stand here and watch the battery charge, which I gotta admit, it's gotta be worse than watching paint dry. I think I'm gonna let you go for this week. So, didn't get that little project on Pearl taken care of, but there are several small things that we need to tend to. I want to get this battery charged up to see if the starter will bump over, for one thing. And then you may have noticed in, well, not the past couple of videos, but before that, the plastic work is really bad on the window openings. So that all needs to be redone, because we are eventually going to start getting into some more nasty, rainy weather. And I want to have that all taken care of. So that's two little projects right there that maybe we'll cover next week. I ain't making any promises. We ain't started football yet, so we'll just kind of play it by ear and see. But you know what? I appreciate you playing along with me here on the MT and Me. Hope you'll join us every week just to see what's going on, what's popped up and what's happened and what's not happened and things of that nature. Don't forget, below you'll find all the links you need to the mtandme.com and other things. Give me a thumbs up on the video. That helps YouTube pay attention to the fact that we're here supplying content to them. So that thumbs up really does make a difference. Go ahead and click it for me. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hey, we're over to, I think it's 205 is where we are. The last time I looked, which was a few days ago, so it may be different now. So we're trying to get just as many as we can above 200 in advance of our 200th video, which is now 6 weeks away, something like that. It's getting close. We're working on it. You stay with us, and thanks a lot for watching today and every week here on the MT and Me. I appreciate you. Love you, my nomies. You take care. I'm Russ. And of course, we will talk later.